So as always, guys, with these sessions, if you have any questions about anything at all, please do not hesitate to let me know. Welcome to mentorship. It is Wednesday, the 20th of September, and we are doing mentorship a little bit earlier than usual because we are having a little look to see how FOMC affects the markets. And this session is going to be recorded for anyone that misses it. But essentially, it was just to see what kind of volatility we get, what are the benefits of trading it, what are the disadvantages of trading it. You know, there's a lot of opinions in the market, things like that. I still think it's the wrong place to trade in these events, but it does look like it tries to respect structure. So, you know, for example, on the Discord, we spoke about this area here on Monday, I think it was, and I called this area out and I said this should play out, and I said about this hourly candle right here on EU, which I was hoping you'd get a reaction to. Now, there's two things you could have done, or two things to really action in these sort of situations. One is you do just be brave. You set an entry. If you did, you'd be in profit right now. Absolutely fine. You could target the lows and you'd be well on your way on a higher time frame as well. So that's great. Or what we can now do that we've hit our point of interest area, we can delete all the stuff that isn't as important. We can look at the liquidity. We can look at what's going on, and we can identify that actually we've now got a pretty good area lining up for tomorrow's trading. So tomorrow already, as long as this candle respects, bear in mind we've got another 54 minutes of this hourly candle, I would like to see us venture back into here and sell at this area again, because what we would get is the classic move where what we want is to see price break to the downside like that. Okay, so we get that break of structure and we identify price moving into our point of interest and doing the same thing again. That is the model. Okay, that is essentially what I'm looking for. I'll just repeat it again. So what we are looking to do, okay, we are looking for price to show us signs that it's selling to the downside, okay, or buy side. And this is the perfect model, okay? We're looking for price to sell to the downside. We're not looking to get into a trade. We're looking for extra evidence so we can identify some kind of order block in there, some kind of imbalance, perhaps. And then we're going to measure our fibs, make sure that we are within line with our trading range. So let's say we're in line here with the trading range. So we know we're inside our kill zone. Once we know we're inside our kill zone, we've found ourselves a point of interest. We're not looking to take a trade off of here. Let's say this is on a 1 hour time frame or 4 hour time frame. Well, let me just change the color of that. So now what I'm doing, I'm moving to a lower time frame, which is going to be trending higher like this, getting into our point of interest, and then breaking to the downside. That is the area I'm looking to take an entry off of. This is where I'm looking to take a trade. So my trade is always on the redistribution phase of this area here, targeting new lows, because it's giving me that evidence to get in. And that is what I'm looking for. And it looks like the same thing potentially could be happening here. So if the same thing here could potentially be happening, we can identify 4 hour point of interest area. That's our order block. We're now inside there. We've reacted inside there. We're breaking all of this structure right here. That, if it finishes where it is, that's your entry. Okay. And you know, I would set it on that time frame. I would set it on that time frame, but it's just an example. Now, how else you could manage it tomorrow is, you know, waiting for London session, waiting for an even smaller time frame, maybe a 15-minute or a 5-minute, to do exactly the same thing. Now, obviously, we don't know where this news is going to finish just yet. We've got a little bit of a way to go. And the same thing here. Look, I said on the Discord a little while ago, I do believe we're going to be targeting this liquidity. There's potential that could definitely still happen. We have come lower in this news event, but I do still want to target there, mainly because I'm looking at the daily bias. Okay, I want to see us hit back into that imbalance. Yes, we can drop from here. There's nothing stopping that from happening. But I would like to see us come higher, to give ourselves a better idea for these sells. So as of right now, you know, it is selling off. Okay, it is selling off. And I want to wait to see what happens. Now, two things are going to happen. It's either going to accumulate. Okay, so it's going to make new lows, and then it's going to start accumulating. Now, if you get in on this area right here, just as an example, bear in mind that we're bearish on this area here. You could have your first take profit right there. So take profit one at the candle, because realistically, what it could do is pop back and then carry on moving lower. So you could go break even when price gets there. You could take maybe 50% out of your position. If it carries on moving higher, maybe you could have take profit two here, for example. And if it carries on moving higher again, you could be taking partials out all along the way. And that is essentially how you can manage a position. If it gets to there, you've obviously got full TP and you're in the trade. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 take profits, and they're always meeting certain criteria of your trade, but you're obviously waiting for that extra evidence to form. This might not happen yet. It might carry on dropping. If it carries on dropping from here and we don't get a chance to take this trade, then I'm going to be adapting to the market. I'm going to be adapting to the market, and I'm going to be looking in here to see if we're actually going to get moves to the downside. But looking at the way our strategy is, we always want a draw on liquidity. So can we see anything on a higher time frame that matches the range that could maybe suit what we're trying to do? Because I can see it straight away. Okay, I can straight away see order block or FU candle, which took out this liquidity right here. And then we can see this area here. Now that is your internal liquidity. If you haven't watched the lesson on internal liquidity and external liquidity, I would strongly recommend you do, because it's a very, very, very strong lesson. It's really going to help you understand certain things in the markets. And this here is already displaying as internal liquidity because it's in the premium range. We've got liquidity in there. And essentially, we've got a point of interest with a target of liquidity. That is your draw on liquidity there. And it's available to all members. That's both courses, internal liquidity. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend you go and watch it. It definitely can be a game changer. So if we do carry on dropping tomorrow morning, if we get into this area and we start to show signs of a sell-off, then I would be looking to take sales. But obviously, my preference is to sell inside this daily imbalance right here. Okay, that is my preference for sales. Obviously, I'm going to be looking at other places as well. Okay, because look, you know, price has been bearish. We've come back into a point of interest. I felt like it was building liquidity right here. It dropped today. So this is yesterday. This is today's price action. We've clearly been dropping. You can see we took out the sell side liquidity here. We came back in. We mitigated into this area here. You know, when you look at it in hindsight, it's actually quite simple. Okay. And, you know, you can see here, price has popped straight back into this area right here. So there's your imbalance. Okay. Now, what can we see when price gets into here on a 5-minute time frame? You've got price drop into the downside, and then you can get maybe this entry here on a 5-minute time frame, or we can go a little bit deeper. We can have a little look and see what price action is looking like. And already I can spot a really, really nice entry. Okay, it's right there. Okay, because look what we've done here. We've finished above that liquidity there. And yeah, this is my bread and butter. These are the trades I love taking. Just look at that for an entry right there. Okay, liquidity grab, break of market structure to the downside, order blocks, breaker block, inversion, fair value gap. It's all here. It's all here. Even if you just targeted those lows right there, you know, you'd be perfect. You'd be absolutely perfect. If you wanted to hold it to the, you know, if you thought, actually, I don't care if it hits my stop loss, and you held it to now, you'd be up maybe an 8-1. Now, that'd be unrealistic for me. I'd be looking at these targets here. There's not really, I mean, yeah, you could, in theory, be looking at those targets there for a 3-1. Like, this is bread and butter. This happens every day, guys. And this is why I trade on just one time frame, or two or three time frames, because if I'm trading on multiple time frames, I'm doing it on the higher time frames, because it's allowing me to do things. It's allowing me to work in a way where I can do my analysis, set a trade, as a pending order and walk away. But if you're an intraday scalper, so you want to be in and out of a trade in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, it is within your best interest to trade on as less minimal timeframes as possible. Keep it to 1 or 2 timeframes. I personally stick to NAS and S&P when I'm intraday trading during the New York session. So you have to pick one session, you have to pick one time frame, ideally 1 or 2 timeframes, and you have to be purely focused on that one time frame and really get to know how it works. You can find so many moves every single day. You can't trade in between timeframes. You've got to trade in between sessions. Sorry, you've got to trade in the session times that you've committed to. So whether you're trading London session, Asian session, New York PM session, London session, they're the ones you have to kind of pick. It should cater for everyone. I understand people are busy with certain things. And if you haven't got time to sit at the charts and you want to make a living from trading, well, here's a trade that you could have set, even though we've got news, but you could have set this trade right here on a 4-hour time frame. You could have had this set for days and not worrying about it. You know, right now you'd be up 2%. Like, you know, if you're targeting this right down to the lows, that's a 3% trade, and you're not really worrying about it. Tomorrow morning, when you get into, maybe if you get to bed tonight and you can see that the price is finished where it is, you can generally set this as a pending, because that is a trade. These are trades, guys. If you lose, then fine, you lose. But guess what? I lose these trades as well. I've lost trades this week. I've had break evens. I've had wins. But because I practice proper risk management, the losses do not matter at all. They are completely irrelevant. Okay? They're completely irrelevant. And what I'll do, I'll show you, yes, because this is obviously today's trade. So when this bloody thing loads up, I'll show you the trade from yesterday. Because again, so simple. And actually, this is a really good one. I actually think it's one of my favorite ones, because it was in a situation where price was traveling down, so that the expansion had already happened. Okay, the expansion had already happened, but I'm not going to go onto the higher time frames. But basically, I was expecting price to either hit the imbalance, which was obviously we've noticed here on the daily, or hit the previous day low, which is this area right here. So that is the target. Okay, now let me just kind of replay all this. Now, this is a tight entry, but these areas play out all the time. And honestly, you can really get into them. Okay, you can really get into them. And it's, again, the same concept. Okay, think all the time about price dropping, and then think about price action trending up and breaking structure, leaving some kind of entry, a fair value gap or something like that. That is what I want you to focus on, because it was the exact same thing. When you've got the expansion, it might come into an area of imbalance. When it comes into an area of imbalance, is it going to drop to the downside? Have you still got this target right here intact? Now, let me just delete all of this. Look at this expansion to the downside. So London session took out the Asian range, mitigated into New York PM session. That there, when you see price drop into the downside, gives you an indication we're probably going to sell off. London usually creates the high of the day or the low of the day. What did it do in this case? Created the high of the day. Fine. We know it's created the high of the day. Now, we've got the opening, which is 5 a.m. UK time, which is midnight New York time. So that there is what we're looking at. So really, you want to be buying under this area here, or you want to be selling as above it or as close to it as possible, vice versa for buying. Now, price is gone. Price is gone. It's making a run to the downside. There's not really any movements to get in. What you can be doing is, looking for price, seeing what it looks like on a higher time frame. You're following it on a smaller time frame. What you need to start getting used to doing is identifying areas on your expansion. So we've got imbalance. We've got this imbalance right here. Now, obviously you can see for the benefit of hindsight, we come into that imbalance, but let's just say you're here, for example. This is where I was yesterday. This is what I was looking at on the charts. I'm looking at this area right here. I can see prices dropping. And I think I spoke about this area in the Discord. I was looking inside here. Okay. Now we've got two areas. Two things can happen. It can come up to here. It can start dropping. It can go there. Why is this valid? It's valid because we've still got target. Target's not been met. It's clear we're doing something. We're going somewhere. We could have potentially come under there and then pushed higher. And sometimes that does happen. Sometimes it comes under here. But look how fast we're going. It's going somewhere. Now, my preference was to see price, do that because I would have got a much better risk reward. But as you can see, looking at price action, that didn't necessarily happen. So we came into this area. Now, what am I doing in here? I'm not setting an entry. I'm going down to a smaller time frame. And I am observing the behavior on what's going on this smaller time frame. Now, this can happen from a 4-hour imbalance into a 1-hour entry, a 15-minute imbalance into a 1-minute entry, whatever. It does not matter. Price is fractal. I'm just showing you the example. But look at that. We've got liquidity. Okay, we've got liquidity. We've had a big push up. Now we're pushing lower. Is there an entry? Is there a valid entry point at this stage? Not really. Nothing at the moment. So what do? We wait. If price dumps to the downside, takes my target, what do I do? How do I get in? The answer is I do nothing. I don't need to get in. Okay, I don't need to take it. It's taken the target. The trade is invalid. Whilst the target is still there, the trade is perfectly valid. When I see this happen, I see price carrying on moving. I see price looking like it's going to push higher. Nothing really going on there. Now, here we go. We've had ourselves a push to the downside. So where's the entry going to be? We can enter off of this order block. We could sit there and hope for a fair value gap to arrive. And that's exactly what I did. Okay, I'm sitting there waiting for price to give us some kind of entry to take. So the entry is, if you want to be really tight with your stop loss, which if your broker allows you to, you can. It is risky because sometimes you'll get knocked out with spread, or you could maybe be a little bit conservative. I had my stop around about here somewhere, maybe even a little bit higher on my broker. But essentially, what can we see happening? We can see price action doing its thing. And straight away, I was in there for 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes. And straight away, a nice 2%. And we've taken the thing. Now, you could, if you wanted to, have held it for longer. That would be absolutely fine. There are more targets. For me, when it came in, hit my take profit, it was my profit anyway, so I let it take out. But also, I wouldn't have wanted it to hit my profit and then come back up. And I obviously would have risked going out of break even. So I was happy to come out of there. If I was in an abundance of profit for the week, let's say it was a Thursday and I was up 15%, for example, then yeah, I probably would have let it hit my stop loss or just hit it. I probably would have walked away and just maybe left a trailing run or something like that, and just seen where price eventually wanted to take me. That's obviously another thing it can do as well. So that was yesterday's price action. And, this happens every single session. It happens all the time. And that is essentially the way how I look to try and get into the market. That's what I'm trying to do. Now, again, look, what can we see here? Okay, we've had another area of imbalance. And once again, I don't know if this entry actually played out or not, but look, we came into there. Let's see if we can go a little bit lower. And there was imbalance left here. Which hit, and obviously imbalance here. Now, the issue I have with this entry, which why I wouldn't take it, I had nowhere to go, really. I mean, we've got lows down here, but we've taken out the main target. So the main sell side has been taken out. I don't really see a point in actually getting into this area here now. And actually, I don't even have to go up. You can see that would have lost. Why would that trade have lost? Because we've already taken out sell side liquidity. And you can see by now, price action is clearly dropping to the downside, mitigating into that area there that yesterday's price action created. So as of right now, where do I see this potentially going? Well, we've had the big push down. I don't know if I see an awful lot happening now. Okay, I don't know if I see an awful lot happening now because we're just kind of consolidating. Okay, we're consolidating. We've reacted inside this imbalance right here. We are slowly pushing to the upside. So if I was looking at this right now and looking to get into a trade, I'd be looking at here for my point of interest. I would be looking at this liquidity up here because that's where liquidity is. And one of the big questions you have to ask yourself when you're doing a top-down analysis on every single time frame is, where is the money? And that sits above equal highs and equal lows, inside imbalances, at order blocks, at higher time frame highs and lows. And it's all about pointing these areas out. And you just have to point them out for your areas of interest. And suddenly you'll find yourself making so much sense of this. Like, I have a feeling now that the people here that are on this call now watching this are probably thinking to themselves, oh my God, it looks so easy. What am I doing wrong? How am I getting this so wrong? But you've got to remember, guys, I'm sitting here staring at the charts for maybe an hour or two before I actually take anything. And I may be taking 1 or 2 trades a day. I'm super, super patient. It's very easy to talk about in hindsight. And I completely get that seeing it in real time is very hard. But honestly, once you see it, it will just happen. Like right now, I can see this as a potential trade. As long as this candle closes, what's going on right now with this wick is bad news for this trade setup because it looks like we're not going to close below here. Even though the 15-minute has closed, I would like the 1 hour to give us that extra confirmation. But the fact that where we are on the daily time frame, and bear in mind, daily time frame is the most important thing. Okay, daily is direction. Think of that all the time. Daily is direction. So in your head, if you think to yourself, daily time frame, direction, that's what I want to be going. Where is the daily bias? What is my daily bias going to be each and every single day? So tomorrow, for example, where do I imagine this price action is going to go? We know it's going to retrace back into some of this wick. Is it going to carry on moving lower? We can see price structure pushing its way down there. Maybe that's the sort of situation that's going to happen. Maybe when we look at the weekly time frame, we can see that we're under these lows. I'll be honest, I do believe it would, if it was going to reverse, it would want to at least take out this liquidity. I can see that happening, and then maybe a push higher. So maybe where we are now, bear in mind we're inside this gap imbalance. When I measure the daily range right there, and this is where I came up with that point of interest on the Discord this week, guys. Look at this. It's just pure artwork. Right in the Fibonacci kill zone. 4-hour order block. 1 hour institutional candle. This is just pure. And look, that is dead on. Dead on with the 71% fib level. Like, it cannot get more simple than this. So as long as now we need to wait for a reaction to the downside. We've got it on the 15-minute. Let's see where the 1 hour closes. Because if this closes here, this could be a liquidity grab. And then potentially price go high. But what I think it should do, because look, we're creating more liquidity. Okay. I think this is setting us up for tomorrow. I'd like to see another candle form. And then maybe this area do that with the wick, so that tomorrow we've also got a nice area of imbalance to play inside. Pardon me. So something like that would be what I would like to see happen. Okay, I'd like to see something like that. And then tomorrow, you know, we can look to bring price into this area, up into maybe this breaker block, take price lower, so that what it would look like from a 4-hour point of view, from a daily point of view, whatever, is that price action would have done something like that. And then inside this area right here, where's my entry going to be? Maybe it's on a smaller time frame. You see this panning out. And your entry is in there. Like, this is just, it happens every day. Recycles, recycles, recycles. This is what we're looking for. But at the moment, there's no trade. So what do we now do? Can anyone in the chat? It's one of the most important thing. What do we do at this situation when there's no setup here right at this time? This is price action happening right now. What do we have to do? We know where we are on a higher time frame. We know we would like to come lower. There is no setup at the moment. What do we do right now? How are we going to get into the markets? We wait. We are patient. There's no trade. There's no trade. You don't go and look at other time frames. Okay, you don't go and look at other charts trying to force yourself into a trade every day. This will happen. It might not happen tomorrow. It might not happen Friday. It might happen Monday. I think it will probably happen this week, but it doesn't have to happen every day. If you could hit one trade every week, which hit you at 5% for the week, that's 20%. That's 20%. Drink tea and sit at the chart. Exactly. Okay. That is exactly what you do. You wait. And that's what I'm doing. On NAS, I'm sitting there and waiting. I cannot see anything for the life of me forming right now. In fact, say that. Here we go. If price does come into here and reacts to the upside, that could be but listen, that's not happened yet. So look, we wait, we be patient. Because look, if this does break through now, violates this 3-minute imbalance, there's no trade. So we have to sit there, we have to wait, we have to let everything play out the way it does. If price breaks below here, then great. We wait. We carry on waiting. You know, there's nothing setting up. And you have to go wait at your session. This is why I always say it's important to pick a trading session. Now, you can pick any trading session in the world. You can find a particular pair that works within your trading session. You know, for example, if you trade in Asian session, I would stay away from USD pairs, because the USD banks, interbank level traders, institutions, are they awake during Asian session? No. So I'd stay away from pound pairs during the Asian session because they're in bed. I would, if you're trading New York session, I would trade US pairs. If you're trading London session, I would trade pound pairs or euro pairs. If you're trading, you know, Asian session, you could pick like Aussie JPY. Something like that would be good. We are moving here, by the way. That's actually played out quite nicely. So a good entry would be imbalance forms now. So that has played quite nicely. But look, we are pushing. Maybe the news is going to take us straight to this area here. And look there, we're taking this point of interest area apart. So this is obviously invalidating that at the moment. So maybe the 3-minute is your entry. So maybe we're going to come back, create an imbalance. So it'd be very interesting to see if we create this imbalance. And this would be an entry. If this was New York session in the AM, it's a little bit big for my liking, this imbalance, but I would be looking to take it. How much pairs should I watch, sir? And when, which will get us a good trade? So, I mean, it's a very hard question to answer in terms of, I don't really remember how much pair should I watch, but every pair will give you a trade. This is presenting, in my opinion, a trade right now. What I would probably do is measure this here, 50% of that area. I'd probably have my entry at 50%, lower there, something like that. Target would be that area right there for a 1 to 4. So something like that. And I'm only having 50% of the imbalance because of how big this imbalance actually is. Because I'm doing that for selfish reasons, because I want a good risk reward. But in terms of how long you sit at a chart for, I'm at the charts New York AM session. I sit at the charts for 2.5 hours every day. If I trade London sessions, I sit there for a couple of hours every morning. If I'm trading like now, I'm technically trading with you guys on the PM session. The PM session starts 7:30 till 9 or 6:30 till 9. Well, that's the range you want to be looking to trade. So a little tip I would say, when you turn this in on here, these trades are the windows. So right here, 6:30 till 9, I'd be looking to take a trade in there. In this New York AM session, 1:30 until 4:30, that's supposed to be, I'd be looking to take a trade in there. London session is 7 until 10. I'd be looking to take a trade in there. I'd let everything else on the outside play out. But that is what I'd be looking to do. So look, we are now in this imbalance. Be interesting to see if this does play out. I'm not going to take this just because of news, because it could just completely splatter through because the volatility is crazy at the moment. But for educational purposes, it'll be quite interesting to see if this does play out. Come on, hit it. No, it's not good, is it? So yeah, that's. I mean, if you, there's some great pairs you can look to trade. And what will end up happening? You'll probably just fall into certain pairs that you like trading. Like I didn't really, I only kind of fell into these areas here, and suddenly it just makes more sense to me, the indices, than forex. So I end up trading it. I know some people that only really look to trade crypto, for example, because this works on crypto as well. So it's all perfect. Yeah, that's what I love about this strategy. So, guys, have you got any questions at all about anything at all? Any question is absolutely fine as well, guys. It's not whatever you're kind of going through at the moment, if mindset or struggles or random questions about trading, about pairs, anything at all. This bastard's gonna play, isn't it? Look at that. Look, we've just done that is that not pinpoint accuracy? I mean, that's just mental. I didn't take that. Kind of wish I did now. So any questions at all, guys? And I mean, who here trades on news? I say I personally don't, but who here does trade during news events? First Zoom meeting, very interesting. No, Darren, you're very welcome. I'm very happy to have you here. Usually, what I like to do for these meetings is talk about. I kind of pick up where people are struggling from in the Discord. I think about certain things that people are struggling on, and basically try and pick up a subject. So today it was essentially just trading on news. Usually I'll pick a random topic like order blocks or something like that. Yeah, and I'm happy to do these. It's always good to do them live as well, because the lessons are all well and good. But what you don't get in the lessons is the ability to sort of sit there and ask me questions, which is why I say, like, that would have been a lesson on a course. Now you've got the chance to ask me any questions about it. And that's what I would say. If you have any questions, please put them in. How do you get the sessions indicator? So Harry, on the Discord, what I have got is it's in there. It's in the Discord. Okay, so you should be able to find it in there. I think it's MetaTrader and tips. I've put in all the settings, how to find it, everything like that. I took 2 or 3 today. Yeah, and you know what? I ended up taking a few because I was sitting there and the trades played out. It looked okay. I thought, yeah, okay, I'll take it. I wouldn't have taken it today. Even if that trade does play, it's just interesting to see it play. But I personally, it's not for me, just because I think it's too volatile. And it kind of goes against my rules as well. Like, I don't know how well all of you here are following your trading rules, but I think it's important to follow your trading rules. Within my trading rules, it's not really to trade the PM session. It's usually London and New York AM session, because I've never had the best results in the PM session. So I simply take it away. Should I wait for price to come back to kill zone or enter at 50%? What chart are you looking at? I mean, I wouldn't be taking a trade in. I wouldn't take a trade in this session if I were you. But what are you looking at? Let me know what have you got an entry in mind? So I think you need to look. So for example, where's EU? This one here. It's not annoying. I want price to close below this one really, but let's say we do get that break there. No, I wouldn't enter off there. I'd want to see price come lower. Yeah, price has to come lower for me. So if price did come lower, break below here, I'd be measuring a kill zone in here. So let's say this candle finished down here. I would be measuring this range when I know that it's over, seeing what's inside this 71 to 88%. If there's a fair value gap, an imbalance or an order block or something like that, I mean, what would be even better is if price came below this liquidity, did something like that, so that, you know, we've got this order block engulfed inside this area here. That's what I'd like. But I guess we're going to have to wait for the overnight Asian session to kind of play on that. It looks like it's setting up for buys today. So again, we've got sort of like 2-minute imbalance in there. Interesting to see. Price pushed higher. You did have a 1-minute entry in there. Not really a lot going on though. It's kind of consolidating now. It's kind of consolidating. Let's look at what tomorrow's doing. Tomorrow looks okay if you're staying away from pound pairs. But again, there's nothing scary about tomorrow for me, so I'm not too worried about anything there. And Friday, PMI, Euro, yeah. Quite busy day on Friday. I'd probably steer clear on Friday for some of them, or at least wait for these areas to play out. But I don't usually like trading too much on a Friday anyway, to be honest. It's just really the big ones like this I don't like trading. So yeah, let's see how it plays out. And what's the DXY doing? DXY has done quite well, reacting from there. So look, it looks like it's respecting the retracement. So if we look, I was hoping price would basically come down to this area here, which it has done, and eventually push higher. But look, we are currently respecting this market structure right here. So if we do respect the area, I feel like we're probably going to come lower, which isn't ideal. So guys, any questions at all? No questions? Anyone else? If there's no questions, guys, I will probably I'll probably leave it there unless there's anything else you want to look at in particular. Yeah, it's been a good session here, guys. What I'll do, I'll get this session recorded. I'll put it on the website, so it's all there for you guys to look at. And in the meantime, if there's anything you need, guys, put your charts on the Discord. I'd actually encourage everyone here to put their charts on the Discord. I am still going to pay for someone's funded challenge. Okay, it's just not going to be my Forex funds, obviously, for obvious reasons. So just let us know how you're kind of getting on with things like that. Surprise how much news affects. Yeah, it's mental. That's why I say the best thing to do is just not to trade it. Just don't trade it. Just be super, super careful. There's no need to get in it. Okay, because there's plenty of days where we can take these trades and it should all play out perfectly fine. But you know, it is what it is. A lot of people would have lost money tonight. A lot of people would have won money tonight, thinking that they're the Don, and then they'll end up losing it the next time. So it's up to them. But guys, I'll love you and leave you. If you have any issues or anything, let us know. You get on the Discord. Which prop firms do you recommend? So I put them on yesterday on the Discord, the 3 that I think, and I like. So I bear in mind. I just want to say before I say this, the 2 that I'm going to recommend, apart from FTMO, are not ones I've personally used. I've only ever used FTMO in my Forex funds. I've never had any issues with either. But I've been doing due diligence on the others in the last couple of weeks since this whole my Forex things blew up. And the other 2 that I thought looked pretty good were the Funded Engineer and True Forex funds. Now, the reason is because they're European Dubai companies. So essentially in the US, there's a lot of scrutiny against these prop firms at the moment, which is one of the reasons why my Forex funds had issues. Okay, so it can't necessarily happen. I mean, it shouldn't happen with these European countries at the moment because they've got different areas. They're from different areas, so they've got different regulators and things like that. So yeah, obviously we'll see what happens in the coming weeks, but they're the 3 I would say are good at the moment. Ever heard of funding traders? No, I don't think so. I mean, I might have done, but yeah, I looked at loads. Loads are just tosh and crap. If you see someone talking about it on Twitter trying to sign up for commission, then chances are they're a load of rubbish. But yeah, I don't work for any of these ones. They're the ones I would say. But anyway, guys, I will speak to you all on the Discord. If you have any problems, let me know. And thank you very much for tuning in today, guys.